situation going on in Southeast Asia. It has become like a volcano hub that is going to erupt soon and vaporize the entire planet Earth. I was here on the 5th of February. I don't know how many of you remember. I was here on the 5th of February in solidarity with the Kashmiris, and at that time I had predicted that we are going to have World War III started soon if we decided not to do anything about the Kashmiris. If we decided not to liberate the Kashmiris, if we decided to let go Modi and shrug away with his persecution of Kashmiris. And this is exactly what's going on 2 weeks down the road. Look at the world around you. We are in a very dangerous volcanic zone in the Southeast Asia, thanks to Modi's escalation of war, thanks to Modi's aggressive policies, thanks to Modi's continuous oppressive tactics against the Kashmiri civilians and against the Muslims of India. So here's my way of peacefully protesting, telling the Americans to try to stop this escalation of violence. Don't just tell Pakistan to de-escalate. You know, unilateral de-escalation means nothing, because Modi is still escalating and causing a lot of deaths in Kashmir of innocent civilians. So telling just Pakistan to stop and not respond is actually costing the lives of innocent Kashmiri civilians and also of Indian Muslims who are suffering from the hate crime attacks of the extremist factions of RSS within India. So I am just trying to do my job as a peaceful civilian of this world, trying to bring awareness to the masses that Americans need to rise against these atrocities being committed by Modi in Kashmir against the Kashmiris. And it's very important it's done sooner than later, because nobody wants the end of the world right now. We all want to be able to live peacefully. We all want to be able to see our grandkids grow in a peaceful environment, in a safe, viable world, which is not going to be possible with the fascist dogmas that Modi is harboring. So it is my tiny little humble attempt to tell the Americans to act against the atrocities being done by India in Kashmir. I'm post-call, I'm actually pre-call also, I'm on call tonight again. And this is, I have a very busy schedule. I've been on call back to back. And I'm a full-time physician and a mother of 3 children, a wife, and a philanthropist. And I run an NGO. I run a political party. If I can get the time out to do this, why can't the rest of the world? I have a 6-year-old, and I want him to grow up and be able to have a peaceful earth, be able to live a peaceful life, a world without wars, a world where there is no oppression of humanity, where there are no humanitarian crises, where Kashmiris are not getting oppressed by Modi, by India. I want a peaceful world, and that is not possible right now because India is very aggressive, and Modi is making India go aggressive in the Southeast Asia. We are on the verge of a nuclear apocalypse, and nobody wants to do anything about it. There is only talks. Looks like people have a lot of confidence in their global leaders, in their humanitarian leaders, who have not been able to resolve this conflict peacefully, having led to millions and millions of people dying, suffering at the hands of Indian atrocities, at the hand of Indian oppression in Kashmir. So asking one country to back off and then letting the aggressor, the oppressor, continue to oppress Kashmiris is just killing more Kashmiri civilians. The forceful occupation of Kashmir by India is leading to total destabilization of the region, as it did in the aftermath of the Iraq war. Terrorism is flourishing. The area is destabilizing. The world is getting more and more unsafe. And the two parties involved carry nuclear bombs. So if you're not going to do anything about it today, you may not have a viable earth tomorrow. I am a physician. My job is to save lives. I was on call last night trying to save lives. I'll be on call again tonight trying to save lives. For me, it takes me hours to try to save one life. And here we are talking about finishing up half of the planet with one bomb. Think about it. You have children like I do. We want a viable earth. We want a peaceful earth. We want a solid, peaceful solution of Kashmir in light of UN resolutions, in light of humanitarian guidelines, the standard of guidelines that Kashmiris have the right of self-determination. Kashmiris have the right to decide if they want to be merged with India or with Pakistan. This was a right given to them by the United Nations that India has snatched away from them. So my question to the Americans is that when Hitler was doing this to the world, they stood up and stopped Hitler from ending this world prematurely. What happened now? Modi is doing the same thing. He is using the same tactics that Hitler was using against Kashmiris. Hitler was doing it against Jews. He imposed a Holocaust against the Jews. And Modi has imposed a Holocaust against the Muslims, against the Kashmiris. So if US could act against Hitler, why won't US act against Modi? If US stopped Hitler from creating an apocalypse, why won't US act now to stop Modi from bringing about an apocalyptic World War III? So this is my question to the Americans, that how come they have so much trust in their corrupt leadership? How come they have so much trust in their corrupt bureaucracy that they're going to let them decide the fate of the earth, which we have seen what they have done to the earth in the last few decades. A decade of wars, a decade of military-industrial complex, a decade of destruction, a decade of war profiteering, a decade of elites' corruption. So are you going to let the matters be taken care of by the corrupt elite, by the corrupt bureaucracy, by the corrupt leaders, or are you going to take matters in your own hands? If you're a democracy, America, why aren't you acting right now? Why aren't you doing anything to stop this aggression, to stop the escalation of violence in the Southeast Asia? Boycott India, sanction India, do an economic boycott, pressurize India, pressurize Modi, tell Modi to stop committing atrocities against the Kashmiris. Because I was here on the 5th of February, almost a month ago, and we are going through a crisis situation right now in the Southeast Asia. And if I can get the time to stand here for the future of the earth, for the fate of the earth, why can't all of you stand, regardless of your faith, regardless of your race, regardless of your nationality? At the end of the day, we are all humans. We have one earth to share. This is a melting pot that we all have to share. And allowing one madman like Modi to get away with his oppression, aggression, with his hate crimes, with his hate speeches, with his warmongering is not going to solve the problems. It's only going to escalate the problems. The Indian Army just killed 2 Kashmiri civilians yesterday. They are not stopping. They are not de-escalating. They are actually advancing. Every peace gesture by Pakistan, every peace talk by Kashmiris has been rejected by India. India wants to own Kashmiris. India wants to enslave them, and they don't want that. They want freedom. They want liberation. They want to end this oppression, the 70 years oppression that is now put the world on the verge of its nuclear war that's going to cause and bring about the end of times. So if I can do it by myself, stand here, try to raise awareness, so can you. It is very important that if US took tangible action against a crazy madman like Hitler, why won't US do anything about Modi, who's acting like a madman in Southeast Asia? It is very important for US to use its influence, to use economic pressure upon India to stop its atrocities in Kashmir. It is very important to end the oppression of Kashmiris by India now, because we are on the verge of an apocalypse. We just went through a combat battle between 2 nuclear countries, and thanks to the Pakistani leadership that decided to de-escalate, that decided to calm down things, that decided to not respond with the same amount of aggression to Indian provocation, we now have stalled the World War III, but India is continuously rejecting these efforts by the Pakistani leadership, taking them, using them as a political stunt, and flaunting it as a Pakistani weakness. They think Pakistan is too weak to respond. Pakistan has been already written up as one of the strongest countries of the world. The fact that they did not respond with escalation does not mean that they were weak. The fact that they decided to take it easy, to chill, to not escalate Modi's aggression is because they chose to stay peaceful. They chose the path of peace because peace is important for Pakistanis. But it seems like it is not important for the Indians. It seems like it is not important for Modi, who's acting just like a neo-Nazi leader who tried to occupy almost half of the planet in the 1940s. And at that time, if US stood up against so much aggression, what is going on right now? Why won't US do anything about Modi's aggression? Why won't US do anything about the Hitlerism, the neo-Nazism of Modi and his followers, his cult followers who are lynching Muslims in India, who are oppressing Kashmiris in Kashmir, and who just put 250 houses of Muslims on fire just the other day? Is hate better than love? Tell me, is hate better than love? Because it seems like that is the #1 political slogan of Modi right now going through his election campaign. So I stand here today and I ask you, why isn't the US bureaucracy, why isn't the US leadership doing anything about the neo-Nazism of Modi in India against the Kashmiris, against the Muslims? Why aren't you doing anything about it? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a nuclear bomb to be attacked in Pakistan? by Modi to start a nuclear apocalypse? Is that what you're waiting for before you're going to act? Is this your foreign policy right now? Is this what you're waiting for? That one day, yeah, let him do whatever he wants to, let him get away with whatever he wants to, let him continue to escalate violence in the region, let him continue to orchestrate hate crimes against the minorities in the name of religion. And one day, when a nuclear bomb gets thrown in Pakistan and Pakistan retaliates because it doesn't have any choice, then you come on with your speeches, and then you come on with your words of sympathy when the world is no more viable, when the earth is no more viable. So are you going to wait till that time? Are you going to wait for a nuclear apocalypse to happen before you're going to take any tangible action against Indian atrocities currently happening in Kashmir? Why is this matter not of any importance to you? When Hitler was committing hate crimes against a minority population, when Hitler was oppressing and trying to go on a world domination agenda, you started action against Hitler and put an end to it. Americans put an end to Hitler's neo-Nazi global agenda campaign. So what's happening right now? Why won't you do it right now? When you see another Hitler clone standing in India committing hate crimes against its minorities, not just the Muslims, but Christians as well. The Christians, the Dalits, the Muslims, they're all being persecuted by the Modi regime in the name of religion because he wants an India of Hindus only. He wants to bring about constitutional changes in the Indian constitution that will take away, that will snatch the citizenship rights of the minorities of India. This is going to happen. He's trying to do it. He just wants a country for Hindus only. So Kashmiris are an obstacle. The Kashmiri Muslims are an obstacle. And so you see all this aggression, you see all these atrocities happening against the Kashmiris right now in the name of self-defense. The reality is that it's the Kashmiris who need self-defense right now. It is the Kashmiris who are being opened up to heinous war crimes. They've been written up. This has been written up by Amnesty International, by United Nations Human Rights Commission. This has been written up by major leading humanitarian agencies of the world. What India is doing to Kashmir has been written up by leading humanitarian agencies of the world. MSF has written up about it. Amnesty International has written up about it. Human Rights Watch has written about it. So why isn't America interested in trying to end this oppression? You intervened in so many countries for the sake of oil in the past half a century for war profiteering because your leaders were corrupt. You invaded Iraq, you invaded Libya, you invaded Syria, you invaded Afghanistan, and so many of your own people, so many Americans were killed in these wars. So many people who didn't have to die, whose families did not have to suffer. These wars did not have to happen, but these did happen just for the sake of war profiteering. For once, for God's sake, for once, for God's sake, do something in the name of humanity. Do something tangible in the name of trying to do the right thing like you did in the World War II when one madman was trying to have regional domination in the area like Hitler. You have done so many wars for money. You have done so many interventions for money. Now try to influence Modi with economic pressure, try to tell him to stop his aggression against Kashmiris, try to tell him to stop his atrocities against Kashmiris in the name of humanity. Is that too much to ask for? I ask the American civilians, I'm not going to any politician of US. I'm not going to any bureaucrat of US. I do not trust them. I do not trust the US government. I do not trust the US bureaucracy. But I like American people. I like the American civilians. They're good people. They have a good heart. They have a compassionate heart. So here I am standing on the soil of US, appealing to the US civilians to force their government, because they are a democracy, to force their government in the name of humanity to for once do something right, to for once try to stop acts of aggression, stop an apocalypse from happening, stop a neo-Nazi Hitler from trying to conquer the rest of the world. If you didn't do that today, we are still in the middle of a war. This will happen. I don't even know if there's going to be a tomorrow for me to be able to come here and tell you this thing again, because a month ago I was here and I spoke with all of you and I told all of you to stop this madman right now, to stop this madness right now, because we are looking at World War III. We're looking at a nuclear apocalypse. We are looking at the end of times. We are looking at a non-viable Earth, a nuclearized Earth, where vegetation, food is not going to be viable anymore. There's not going to be any food. There's not going to be any drugs. Drugs meaning therapeutic drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, which means sick people won't have access to their medications, which means people will starve, which means, and the most important thing is there'll be so much of radiation on this planet that people will have to go underground. People, you will lose this earth forever. And the last time I checked, Mars is still not ready for you to fly onto. You still have to live on this earth. You still have to make sure it remains viable for your children, for your future generations, because if you didn't do that today, if you didn't act right now, there will not be a tomorrow for any of us, for my 6-year-old son, for your children, for the children of your children. So don't do it for me. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for Dr. Faria Bukhari. Do it for yourself. Do it for your children. Do it for the earth you live on. Do it for the planet you live on. Stop a madman from causing so much atrocities in a region. Stop a madman from escalating violence in the Southeast Asia, leading the entire region to a nuclear apocalypse. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for your religion. Don't do it for anybody. I'm telling you to learn to be selfish. I'm telling you to think about your kids, to think about your home, to think about yourself. Don't think about me. If you don't want to think about the Kashmiris, think about yourself. If you did not do anything against Modi right now, if you did not put economic pressure on Modi right now, we are looking at World War III. We are looking at a nuclear apocalypse. We are looking at the end of times. So the time to act is right now. The time to stop Modi is right now. What you did in World War II, you may have to do even right now. If Modi does not listen to your peace fiddles, which Modi has not been listening to, because he's driven by a fascist Hindutva ideological force. You may have to do what you did in World War II. You may have to do the same thing to Modi what you did to Hitler. Because fascism does not listen to dialogue. Fascism does not listen to rational. Fascism does not listen to common sense. So if you did it in World War II against Hitler, what happened now? Why won't you stop Modi? Why are you so inactive? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a nuclear World War III that's going to end the rest of the world? Is that what you're waiting for? Are you waiting for a non-viable Earth before you finally wake up and start talking to your senators, start talking to your congressmen, congresswomen, start pressurizing them democratically to put an end to Modi's aggression against Kashmiris? Why aren't we processing a resolution in the United Nations against Modi right now? Why aren't we using all the leading platforms of the world to stop Modi from acting so immaturely? You have to do that right now. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone. Do it for your children. If you do not have children, do it for yourself. Do it for your own salvation. Do it for your own future. I don't know how much money you're into, but trust me, if there's a nuclear war between Pakistan and India as a result of what Modi is doing right now, the money is not something you're going to be able to feed on. You need food at the end of the day. When the earth becomes non-viable as a result of a nuclear apocalypse, are you going to feed on the dollars? Tell me. Are you going to feed on your money that you think is more important? You are not going to be able to feed on the money when the earth is gone, when the earth is ended, when you cannot grow food on the soil anymore, when the climate is not compatible with any more farming. What are you going to eat? Dollars? Profits? Money? Tell me. Your bank balance? Tell me. It's a very simple question I'm asking you. So if you're not going to be able to eat money, dollars, your bank balance, so my question is, why won't you do anything to stop the apocalypse that will happen in the aftermath of Modi's aggression in Southeast Asia against Kashmiris? Your action means a lot. Don't tell yourself you are nothing, you're a nobody, nobody will listen to you. Don't tell yourself you mean nothing, don't give up. Please do not give up. I'm here by myself, I'm alone. I'm just by myself. It is always worth it. It is always worth it. Even if you're doing it alone, it is always worth it. You must act right now. Like I said before, I was here a month ago to warn everybody, to warn Americans that we are going to have an apocalyptic war, World War III, nuclear war, if the issue of Kashmiris is not solved in light of UN resolution. And guess what? A month later, in the last few days of February, we saw the two nuclear powers engage in a combat battle where Pakistan shot down two airplanes of India that tried to attack Pakistan, and that's not enough. India then tried to attack Pakistan via its submarine, via Navy, that the Pakistan Navy intercepted, and they could have attacked those subs and destroyed them, but just because they didn't want to escalate violence, They just intercepted and forced them to leave. The same thing happened when India tried to do the Balakot surgical strikes by invading Pakistan's airspace. The Pakistan Air Force could have targeted and shot down all those planes that India had sent, but just because it wanted to de-escalate violence, it scrambled them and forced them to leave. But the next time, they were going to try to attack civilians, so they had to shoot them down. And on the border war, on the line of control between India and Pakistan, India used long-range artillery attacking the Kashmiri civilians in the Pakistan area, Azad Jammu Kashmir, and killed almost 30 civilians. So India follows no rules of engagement. India follows the law of the jungle. And you know what are you supposed to do to an animal that forgets humanity, that forgets the laws and the international codes of conduct and starts acting rogue? You know what are you supposed to do to that animal? You're either supposed to cage that animal, if you cannot coax that animal into stopping its aggression, but you got to do something before more lives are lost and before the entire jungle is gone. India is treating all of you as animals of a jungle, and India thinks this world is a jungle. India does not think that you're humans. India does not think that there's humanity. This is why there is violation of all humanitarian codes in Kashmir by India, written up by leading humanitarian agencies of the world. Why would you allow such a rogue animal to get away with so much aggression against innocent civilians? When you acted against Hitler in World War II, why won't you act against Modi, who is starting a World War III, not just to win elections, but to create an India for Hindus only, to demolish the rights of all minorities of India, to take away the citizenship rights of the minorities of India, to create an India for Hindus only? Why won't you act now? If you did not act now, it will be too late. It will be too late because I don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow. I really don't know. I warned you multiple times. This is me coming here within a month of me coming back here. And I'm a very busy physician. I'm post-call, I'm not exaggerating. I was on call last night. I'm on call tonight as well. But I just felt that it is my duty to engage the American civilians into this entire crisis. Like I said before, I do not trust the American government. I do not trust the American bureaucracy. I think they're highly corrupt. They are not sincere to the American people. But I trust the American civilians. I believe you guys are compassionate enough to realize what is right and what is wrong. I believe the American civilians have a heart. If they can care for the animals in this country, for the cats and dogs in this country with so much humanity and compassion, we are talking about those children in Kashmir who have been blinded with the pellet guns of Modi. When Indian Army is told to fire indiscriminately on unarmed civilians in Kashmir. You know, someone a long time ago that you really like, Martin Luther King, said, An act of injustice in one place leads to injustice everywhere. What Modi is doing to the Kashmiris right now in Kashmir, under your nose, will lead to injustice all over the world. Just like when Hitler went on his conquer the world agenda, persecute the minorities, impose Holocaust on the minorities, you saw what happened. And you intervened and you acted and you stopped that madman from going crazy and turning this world into a prison. So what is going on right now? Why won't you move? Why won't you get up? Why won't you stop Modi from his neo-Nazi aggression, from his acts of aggression, from his acts of atrocities against the Kashmiri civilians? Why won't you stop Modi? Why won't you put economic pressure on Modi? Why won't you intervene and give Kashmiris their right of self-determination? Why won't you push for a resolution in the United Nations, asking United Nations to come up and unanimously boycott and sanction India until and unless India ends its forceful occupation in Kashmir and gives Kashmiris their right of self-determination, conducting a fair plebiscite? What are you waiting for? You're waiting for the world to end? When you will finally wake up and realize, yeah, there was this doctor who told us a couple of times that you gotta do something about it. It will be too late. And then you're gonna write up about it, like you always do, in the aftermath of all the destruction and the wars, that we should have acted at that time and stopped a corrupt government from acting so unreasonably, because we are a democracy, but it will be too late. The cascade of violence, the cascade of destruction, the vicious cycle of annihilation could engulf you yourself by that time. You saw what happened. So I'm kindly asking all Americans to wake up in the name of humanity, in the name of peace, in the name of doing the right thing, because you want this world to be a better place for your children. Even if you do not have children, you want this world to be a better place for you yourself. You want a viable earth. You want an earth that's livable by you yourself, because you cannot feed on dollars. You cannot feed on paper money. You cannot feed on war profits. You cannot feed on an electronic money. You need food. In order to grow food, you need a good atmosphere. If a nuclear war happens in the Southeast Asia between India and Pakistan, you will not have an atmosphere to grow food anywhere in the world. So what are you going to eat at that time? Tell me, are you going to eat your dollars? Are you going to eat your bank balance? Are you going to eat your profits? Humanity is suffering. A lot of aggression is happening in Kashmir right now against the Kashmiri civilians. A lot of hate crimes are happening in India against the minorities, not just the Muslims, not just the Christians, not just the Kashmiris, but the Dalits, the lower caste, the so-called lower caste of Hindus as well. So when you see all this aggression happening against the minorities, when you see a humanitarian crisis happening against the minorities, why aren't you trying to do anything about it? You did that in World War II. You stopped a madman from imposing a Holocaust on the minority Jews. You stopped a madman from his conquer the world agenda. Why won't you stop Modi? Why won't you stop Modi right now? Ask Modi to de-escalate. Ask Modi to retreat. Ask Modi to end the forceful occupation of India and Kashmir. Ask Modi to conduct a fair and free plebiscite in Kashmir in light of UN resolutions. You got to do it, because I don't think there may be a tomorrow at this pace, at the way India is escalating violence in the region. I've come here to warn you twice. I don't know if I'll be able to come the third time. I don't know. I don't know if there'll ever be a tomorrow at this pace for all of us. You watch all these end of times movies and all these Armageddon movies, and you're all prepping. Quite a few of you are prepping for the end of times. But the reality is this: you can be a hero today. You can save the world today. You can do your part as a hero by saving the world. You cannot fly like Spider-Man. You do not have the muscles of Batman, but you have the human heart. You have the conscience that God gave you. And even if you don't believe in God, even if you're an atheist, you still believe in doing the right thing. So try to do a right thing by stopping Modi, by stopping this neocon, neo-Nazi oppression of Kashmiris by India. Your action today will make a big difference. Never ever think that you are really too minute to make a difference. Never ever think that. You are strong. You are powerful. You have a lot in you. You can do it. Unite, get up, stand up, call your senators, call your congressmen, call your congresswomen, call your representatives, tell them to intervene, tell them to stop Modi, tell them to stop the escalation of violence in the region. You are strong. You can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. You got to do it now before it's too late. So I'm going to just be here. This is my message to all of you who are currently listening to me. And I'm going to just stand here silently, protest against Indian aggression in Southeast Asia, against Modi's escalation of violence. Peace is better than war. War profits and dollars are not going to be able to feed your kids. We saw what happened in Hiroshima. We saw what happened in Nagasaki. We do not want the history to repeat itself. We want a peaceful land for our kids to thrive on. We want a country that is viable. We want a world where there's humanity, where there are rules and conducts of humanity. International laws are pursued and followed, and law of the jungle is not allowed to prevail as it is currently prevailing in Kashmir by India. The draconian laws that give immunity to the war crimes committed by Modi against India. Do you realize hundreds of children got blinded by the Indian army in Kashmir, and nobody did anything about it? Not a single resolution was passed against the war crimes committed by Modi in India. The war crimes, the hate crimes that were done by the Indian army against the Kashmiris. Not a single resolution was passed in favor of the Kashmiris' right of self-determination in the United Nations by anyone. They're humans. If you care for your cats and dogs, Kashmiri children are human the last time I checked. You need proof? Just Google the pictures. Humans live in Kashmir. If you can be so compassionate about your cats and dogs, what's going on with you right now? Why won't you care about the Kashmiris? They're humans too. They're civilians too. It's humanity that's suffering. And if you don't care about humanity, care about yourself. Because we are on the brink of, and I repeat, we are on the verge of World War III. We are on the verge of an apocalypse. We are on the verge of a nuclear war between Pakistan and India. For how long do you expect Pakistan to remain in the de-escalation mode? For how long would you expect Pakistan to remain, stay back and watch Kashmiris bleed and hemorrhage unattended, unchecked by all of you? Pakistan will have to respond, because Pakistan has a responsibility towards its own civilians and towards the Kashmiri civilians. If Pakistan responded with the same force that India is trying to attack Pakistan with and Kashmiris with, what will happen? The cost of peace for all of you and the world should not be paid by the blood of Kashmiris, because they are humans like you. They have a human heart. They have eyes. They have ears. They have human children. They are part of the circle of humanity that we all live in. What about the Christians in India? If you're so much obsessed with religion, what about the Christians? What about your Christian brothers in India who are currently being persecuted by India, because India wants an India that is for Hindus only? You don't have a heart for Muslims? What about for your own Christian brothers? I asked the Hindus too, who are living in US. What about the Hindu minorities who are the Hindu lower caste, the Dalits, who are currently being persecuted by Modi? Why won't you do something about it? Why won't you stop Modi from persecuting his own people just because they belong to a lower caste? I don't know how you think about things over here. What is your obsession? What is it that will drive you to do something about it? Whether it is going to be your own salvation, whether it is going to be to have a viable earth for your children to live on, whether it's going to be to prevent an apocalypse from happening, whether it's going to be religion, or whether it's going to be humanity. I don't know what is going to drive you. But whatever it is, trust me, in this small area, Kashmir, you have 101 reasons to intervene. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're an atheist, as long as you're a human being of this earth who wants to have a future for himself, you gotta take a stand. You gotta intervene. You gotta stop Modi from his Hitler-like neo-Nazism that's persecuting Indian minorities, that's persecuting the Kashmiri civilians, that is blinding the children of Kashmir with pellet gun injuries. You gotta act now. Don't tell me after the World War is done and more than 2/3 of the earth is contaminated and irradiated, when you can't grow food anymore, when you don't even have an atmosphere to be able to survive. Don't tell me, oh, by the way, I did listen to your lecture, but I was really busy. I was so busy. I was so distracted. I had to go watch this show. I had to go on a date. Oh, I had to finish this deadline at work. I'm busy too. I'm a physician. I'm a mother of 3 children. I'm busy too. I have 101 reasons not to do this thing for my own selfish reasons. But I'm still trying to do this because I want humanity to prevail. I want a viable earth for all of us. I want a viable future for all of us. I want a future that is peaceful, that makes this world a better place, that makes this world a world where our children would be happy to live in. When they look back at you, when they look back at me, they can feel proud of us, that our parents got up and tried to stop this madman from destroying the world. I know you do a lot of things for your children. The one thing that you do a lot of things for your children. You go out of the way to make your children happy. Think about what your children are going to tell you tomorrow when they see you not care a bit about what happened in Kashmir by Modi, when the Third World War breaks out, when the apocalypse comes in, when the world ends, when your children do not have a viable food to eat. How are they going to look back at you? How are they going to think about you that, Dad, you took me to all these concerts and you took me to all these places, vacations. You spent a fortune on the vacations, but why didn't you try to stop this madman Modi from destroying the world? Why didn't you stop this neo-Nazi, Hitler-like madman Modi from destroying this world, the world where I was going to grow up, the world that was going to be my future? They are going to be so disgusted with you. I'm telling you today, your children are going to be so disgusted with you because of your insensitivity to what's going on to the Kashmiris, because of your non-interest in the plight of the children of Kashmiris, because you don't give a damn about what Modi is doing to the Indian minorities, to the Kashmiri children. Eventually, when World War III breaks out, when apocalypse happens, your own children are going to look back at you and they're going to feel disgusted with all of you who decided to shrug away this madman's madness. Think about what your ancestors, American ancestors, what you would have said to your ancestors had they allowed Hitler to continue with his conquer the world agenda. Think about it. Think about what you would have thought about your American grandparents had they not intervened in Germany, stopping Hitler from conquering half of the world. How you would have thought of them. You are in the same shoes right now. 2 generations from now, if you didn't stop Modi from his Hitler-like ambitions, you are in the same shoes. Your children are gonna feel disgusted with you. They are not gonna like you. You wanna make them happy? Stop spending money on vacations. Stop spending money on brands. Try to give them an earth, a future where they can live peacefully, and that will not happen until and unless Modi's fascism is contained. So you gotta act now. I don't know if I'll be able to come back here tomorrow again to warn you guys. I warned you a month ago, you didn't listen, and we ended up plunging into this war between 2 nuclear countries, which is still in the process of escalation because Modi is not going to stop. So your time to act is right now. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.